So if you have a C5 Corvette with a targa top and your headliner is starting to droop down, it's not the end of the world. It's not something really hard to fix. You guys can repair this yourself. Give yourself about 3 hours. It doesn't take long to actually do it, but there's a lot of drying time with the glue involved. So cut yourself out a window where you can have the space free to work on for about 3 hours and kind of come and go, and taking some breaks in between, and I'll walk you through the steps and make it look like brand new again. As you can see, the headliner is getting loose on me, so I've taken it off the car and put it on the countertop so that we can work on it. It's a really easy repair. All you have to do basically is unstick the entire foam panel. There's no screws or anything that have to be replaced. So you can see where we're starting off here. And the next step is I'm just gonna get up under it and start pulling up the foam. I've already loosened this foam up a little bit, but as you can see, it's just going to lift away. It is generally stuck down pretty well, so it's gonna take a few minutes, and once I get it all loose all the way around, then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so we got the liner actually. So here's the roof liner itself. As you can see, it's peeling away here, and got some, this is where the foam liner itself is actually coming loose from it. We're going to go ahead and peel away the corners here all the way around so that we can take this piece completely off of it and clean the residue off of the foam. It's kind of interesting. You can see it best right over here. This is actually what actually holds it to the metal top itself. Is like a really heavy duty reinforced double stick tape. You can see where it's peeled back onto the liner, to the roof liner, so it sticks pretty good. Definitely not the kind of adhesive that you pick up at Walmart, but really good stuff. That's what all of this right here is like a real heavy double stick tape. So I'm going to actually try to lift this back up off of here and reuse it where I can. I'll just have to glue it back down, but I think it probably will work out real well because it's still, as you can see, very tacky. So when you peel that roof off of there, the roof liner part off of there, you're going to have a lot of leftover residue, that little orange foamy residue. It feels almost like sand, and that needs to come out. So the first step I did before I even bothered trying to use the acetone on it is brought it outside and swept it down real good. A lot of it's just going to come off with a broom, and that'll get rid of a lot of mess, and then the rest of it you can clean up the residue with the acetone. I'm not really sure how much you need to get clean as far as the actual glue, as long as there's not trash in it, because you're just going to reapply glue to it anyway later on to stick it back down. But you do want to get any of that foam rubber residue off of there. So in those the light stuff you definitely want to remove. So as you can see, I removed that layer of the reinforced double stick tape from it. As I started trying to clean it up, I realized it was too far gone to reuse any of that. So we're gonna move on without that. So this is the side you were looking at just a moment ago. That is the side that you're looking at now, once that I have removed the double stick tape. So and when I pull the liner off, be careful when you do that, because it's going to have that orange foam residue, that sandy sort of residue in it. So when you pull it off of there, you probably just want to take that outside and shake it off and clean it real well, because it, as you can see on my countertop there, it's pretty nasty. You make quite a mess if you do this in the house. So now the other side, we're going to have to clean all of this off of here, which actually shouldn't be too hard to do. I think we're going to just be able to peel this right away and remove all of it. It's kind of hard to do this with just one hand, but as you can see, it's peeling away pretty easily. It's probably just stuck really well at the edges. And then once I get this all peeled away, I'll take this outside and clean it, and then we'll be ready to start putting the headliner back on. At this point, as you can see, I have most of this brown film layer peeled up. I'm getting that finished right now. This is actually like a really thin layer of foam, extremely thin. And what's actually under here, the padding part, is if you've ever removed the liner from the inside of your hood, it's basically the same thing. It's just a different color. It feels like it's a fiberglass insulation type of thing that's pre-formed. It's definitely got finished edges on it, so it's definitely something that they had to make at a factory. I don't think you could replicate this very well, but you can you can replace and peel all of this off pretty well, and I think we're going to be able to glue it back real well. By the way, I just wanted you to see before I get started that this is what I'm using to spray it down, the adhesive that I'm using for it. I know 3M makes one that specifically says headliner on it. They didn't have it at the auto parts store when I went there to pick this up, but this is basically the same thing. But certainly, you don't want just any old spray adhesive. Make sure that you get a heavy-duty spray adhesive that's made for this kind of work. So as you can see, I laid the liner, the black liner, actually back out, and then put the fiberglass pad back on top of it. It's basically in the position it will be right now when it's going to stick to when it's going to be sticking to the roof itself. So what we're going to do at this point is tack one of the edges. So I'm gonna tack the bottom edge on it, and then we'll flip it over and start gluing the rest of it. But I need to get that one edge started so I can do the rest of it. Okay, so you can see now that I've flipped it back over, and you can see in here where I originally started it off at the very top by gluing that front edge down. Now the other side is all glued down. You pull it real tight as you go along. I would suggest that you start in the middle. Once you fold it over and start pulling it down, pull it real tight in the middle, and just keep pulling it along the edges as you go to get it to where it's. Okay, so I flipped it over and I sprayed it down. It probably took about 20 minutes to let the glue set up real good before it was real nice and tacky. And then I just folded everything over on that one edge and flipped it over and sprayed the glue real well all over. Make sure you go along these edges real nice. And then after you get them real good, fill in the middle. Make sure you put it real heavy in the middle here, because obviously you don't want it to give way and sag on you later on. So I'm just waiting for it to tack up, and probably 15 minutes from now then I'll fold it back over and we'll clean up the edges, and that'll be that. Okay, so you can see now that I've flipped it back over, and you can see in here where I originally started it off at the very top by gluing that front edge down. Now the other side is all glued down. You pull it real tight as you go along. I would suggest that you start in the middle. Once you once you fold it over and start pulling it down, pull it real tight in the middle, and just keep pulling it along the edges as you go to get it to where it's. Okay folks, so just real quick, just wanted to show you what it looks like. I sprayed it down real good around all the edges here and filled in the middle. It's going to take about an entire can to do the whole entire job. So by the time you get to the end of this can, you'll have it all sprayed out. Okay, so I placed it back in there. As you can see, we're all the way back in now. It's fitted, so it's pretty easy to center it up and find it the right way. And then just press down your edges real good. Make sure it's down good and snug. And I'm going to give it about an hour before I actually flip it back over to dry. So we're all done now and ready to put her back in the car. Just wanted you to get a quick look at it. She came out real nice. Was not a difficult project at all. Hope this video was a lot of help to you guys. And you know, you can do this yourself.